Welcome back, everybody, to another movie rewind, the show where we go back and revisit older movies that are relevant to new ones coming out. I'm your host, Keegan Holland, and with me is my co-host, Mike Jennison.
Yeah, see, we're doing movie rewind. See,
You had to have done that one before.
I did that the first time we did it, but it's been about a year now, so
Uh,
figured I'd bring it back.
this week, the Hellboy reboot came out and bombed pretty hard. What's it sitting at with Rotten Tomatoes?
15 now. It's going
Oh,
up.
it's gone up. Nice. So because of that, we decided we'd go back and watch the Del Toro originals. The first one was just Hellboy, and then Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. First one came out in 2004. Second one came out in 2008, which is interesting. That year was also Iron Man and The Dark Knight. So kind of a revolutionary year for comic book movies. I'm not sure if Hellboy 2 is in that class, but I guess we'll get in that first. I'll get into the first one first. We had both seen this for a class, a comic book class that we took in college. You saw it before we did.
Different classes, but same teacher.
What did you take it for? Or what did you?
I just did intro to film.
Oh, mine was comic book exclusive then. You did watch a bunch of comic book movies though, didn't you?
Yeah, Soldano loved comic book movies.
Loves it.
Actually, it was like all Mexican filmmakers,
Okay, gotcha.
and like Dark Knight and shit.
So what did you think of the first one?
So I like the first one enough. I don't. After seeing the second one, I don't like the first one as much.
Yeah, it's a big improvement in the second one for sure. But the first one, I think, it still holds up. It is very early 2000s comic book movie, especially with the opening where you're going through like this maze of stuff and there's just names. It reminds me a lot of like the X-Men with the DNA and Spider-Man 1 with the web. And then all just like the characters' names and everything. It's a very early 2000s opening. I think Ron Perlman is like the perfect Hellboy. His head is huge.
He is Hellboy. He was born to be Hellboy.
I think David Harbour, is that his name, the new guy? I think he's still pretty good, but like Ron Perlman is just like the perfect person for it.
Soldano, our professor, he said Ron Perlman looks like a comic book character.
Yeah, looks like a cat.
Yeah, he does. Oh, by the way, I'm drinking Trader Joe's Napa Valley red wine.
I'm drinking Boda Box Nighthawk Black Cabernet Sauvignon, bold, rich, and dark.
Sure, they're both $30 glasses.
No, mine's a box.
Wow, it's a
someone
sharp
brought
box
this over
actually.
for the Game of Thrones watch.
She got some
Darkest
meat.
nights produce the brightest stars. Follow your nocturnal instincts. And then there's a huge one on the back that I'm not going to read. Cheers.
This is from Lot 181.
Ooh, mine's not good. Mine's not sweet.
I like mine. I've had this before though, so.
So yeah, the first one tells the story of Rasputin, the legendary Russian guy that could not be killed. He's kind of the main bad guy, but who you see most throughout the film is that like sand Nazi guy, who I think is actually pretty cool. He doesn't talk or anything, but both in costume and out of costume, I think he's pretty cool looking. He's a cool designed character, but the whole movie itself is just kind of slow. Especially compared to the second one, like there's only one real kind of monster creature that they use, and it keeps multiplying. I think Abe, Hellboy, and then Elizabeth they're cool enough in the first one, but again, the second one is just a great improvement on that. It is weird though. Hellboy just kind of like stalks Elizabeth for the entire movie, and then they fall in love with each other. So it's kind of weird. Like I don't know, it wouldn't really hold up if it came out like this year, especially.
Yeah, and also I love the beginning of Hellboy though. I just kind of wish the movie wouldn't leave that time period. It'd be cool if it was a like a World War II, because he's a Nazi experiment. He comes out of like a Nazi like wormhole they create, right?
Yeah, like a portal to hell.
And that's pretty sick. Have you read the comics?
No.
That's got to be how it originates in the comics, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the first one it's interesting because it's like a fantasy world almost. It's almost not even a comic book where he's just like but you really get that in the second one, but they kind of create that world in the first one, but the second one's so much better. It's just night and day difference. I actually really like the second one.
Yeah, the CGI in the first one's pretty tough too. Like when it's in a fight, it's okay, but then his tail is weird to look at. When he crushes that Red Bull, it's like laugh out loud funny how I don't know why they CGI'd a can of Red Bull, but it looks fucking terrible. There's a line that I was dying at. You killed my father. Your ass is mine. It's like a play on the Inigo Montoya from Princess Bride, but I thought that was hilarious. Jeffrey Tambor is like the comic relief, and even he's better in the second one, I think. He's just kind of a dick in the first one. Did you like the Myers character at all?
Which one's the Myers character?
He's like the guy that he's like flirts with Elizabeth a bunch. He's kind of our point of view character into the world.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
He's just so vanilla.
Yeah, it's not doing a whole lot for me.
No, I mean they do away with him in the second one with like one line of dialogue, like we shipped him to Alaska and then you never hear him again. I guess he doesn't really stick out all that much.
No, it was probably the right decision.
Yeah,
Present's not missed.
And then I guess you just skip to the end here, just so we can talk about the second one more. I think the ending's actually pretty cool, especially when they open the portal and those huge like tentacles and creatures come out of the sky. Like that was an awesome visual.
And he goes full like devil mode.
Yeah, he gets his horns and his crown and stuff. Like he looks badass. And then the portal that they opened, it shows like this huge universe and these huge creatures that I thought was awesome. It was very Guillermo Del Toro with big creatures, and that was a highlight for sure. But getting there isn't all that great. It's not a bad movie by any means, but I just don't think it's worth revisiting currently, especially again with the second one.
Yeah, if you miss those early 2000 comic books, it's right there with them, but it was a little bit of a twist. But you really do feel like you're watching the Spider-Man, the X-Men from the early 2000s. It's fine. It's not bad, but it's just, I don't know. Yeah, it's not worth revisiting really with all the good comic books that have came out since. I do like how he I don't know, I like the World War II shit. That's kind of cool, but it doesn't play a major role. Minus the fact that one guy's like a Nazi, but
yeah, Nazis are always good villains, but it's aside from it originating with the Nazis, that doesn't really carry over past that opening scene. Yeah, so I'd say probably just if you love the first or the second one, if you watch the second one, maybe go back and watch the first. But I don't think it's necessary to go back and watch the first one either.
No.
But jumping into the second one, it goes back to the 40s again, just for a bit in the beginning with a very off-putting Hellboy child.
What the hell was that? Was it intentionally bad?
I don't know, because his teeth are massive, he's so clearly dubbed, and he just looks so off-putting.
It's straight like 2001 Grinch off-putting. Baby Grinch.
That's dead on, actually. Yeah, that was a weird way to start the movie.
And Del Toro's usually so good with like visual effects and costume and makeup, and to see it just so bad, like distractingly bad, I feel like it's almost on purpose. It's not, but it feels like it.
Yeah, I hope it was on purpose for his sake. And then he does another interesting thing in the beginning with that CGI backstory. Did you like that? That it felt like to me, you haven't seen the Harry Potters, but in the seventh Harry Potter movie, they tell like a folk story through CGI, and it felt a lot like Hellboy 2. I don't know if it ripped it off on it or not, but
I felt like Lord of the Rings more. I feel like Lord of the Rings more.
They never do a full CGI thing like that though. Like it's like an animated short basically.
Oh, okay.
Shoehorned into the movie.
But I did like that. Yeah,
that was cool. It felt like so none of these movies made a lot of money. They kind of each just broke even. But it felt like this one felt like a way grander scale, and it felt like GDT had like so much creative control over the entire movie, especially with this. Like, it just feels like such a him move to do this kind of backstory and then have just an insane amount of creatures in this one.
I know it feels a lot more like Pan's Labyrinth. This one.
Oh my god, yeah, especially the end where the last scene of Pan's Labyrinth, if I remember correctly, I feel like it could just slot right into the ending of this movie, basically. Especially the guy with the wings and the eyeballs on his...
Yeah.
Like, that guy is, like, straight out of Pan's Labyrinth. Yeah. One thing I thought was awesome in this movie was, like, the fight sequence. I feel like they were very well choreographed.
How about the gear fighting scene?
Yeah, at the end. That's awesome.
One of the best superhero fighting scenes I've seen. This movie's really...
before that. Like, when the prince
good.
kills the king. That scene was sick.
I mean, this is like a top 5 superhero movie for me, because it's almost more fantasy.
Yeah, it is fantasy. It really is.
Yeah, it's really good and like dark, and the world he creates just like I don't know. It just kept. It's so much like Pan's Labyrinth. I've heard good things about this movie, but I never really was pushing myself to see it. But it really lived up to the hype. This movie's awesome.
I know our professor didn't like this one, right?
Yeah, I don't know why. But he loved Pan's Labyrinth, and he loved Hellboy 1. It doesn't make any sense. If you like both those movies, you'll love Hellboy 2. I don't know.
I mean, it's a weird thing to say, but this feels like the next step from a Pan's Labyrinth movie. Like, this is like, it feels like almost sequel-esque. It's like, I mean, obviously it's a superhero movie, but yeah,
it was
so much
it was the next movie after Pan's Labyrinth for him.
Yeah. But like he laid the foundation in Pan's and then just like went buck wild with this movie, because every scene there's monsters in the background that you could tell he just had so much fun making and designing and everything. And yeah, it's I mean, the dude loves monsters, and this is like a love letter to just creative monsters.
How about the little beasts at the beginning that could like chew bone? Those tooth fairies?
Yeah.
God.
Did that green monster have a penis? The big like forest one?
No, I don't know. Why?
He purposely showed a penis at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
it might have just been a vine. I don't know.
I mean, maybe, but when it attaches itself to the building, it like pans down and it's obviously a leg, and then like a squirming thing in the middle. I was like, was that a purpose or what?
I didn't see that, but maybe.
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
Yeah, for sure. How'd you feel about Elizabeth and Hellboy's love in this one?
It felt real. They weren't always lovey-dovey, but you know, they stayed with each other. I liked it.
Like in the first one, they have their struggles and they're happy for about half a second at the end, and then they're back to struggling again. I feel like we never really got them at like their highest of highs.
Yeah, but that's just them, man. That's just them.
Probably, but I wish there was more. It's just constant fighting with those two.
Did you like the Smoke character that was like also in that suit?
Yeah, I loved him out of the suit more, especially when he took over one of the members of the Golden Army. That was sick. When him and Hellboy were just wrecking shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was sick.
And the villain. I mean, maybe just because he was so. I don't know if that's like if that actor is just like a karate dude or something, or if it's just a great stunt double. But any scene when that guy was fighting, I was locked in. But yeah, it was so well choreographed, and yeah, the gear. That's such a smart place to have a fight.
Oh yeah,
I would never think of that, and it was so awesome.
And I loved how every time he hurt the bad guy, it hurt
the princess.
The princess, who was played by Michelle Williams, correct? I didn't double check that, but was that Michelle Williams?
No, it's not, but it does look a lot like Michelle Williams.
Wow. I wasn't 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. Who is that?
I looked it up because I thought it was Michelle Williams. It's a woman. It's an English woman that has been in not much before or since that.
But that was a cool thing. Also, I loved how his like, my name's Abraham Sapien. She's like, no, it's not. He's like, I know, it's a terrible name.
Yeah. How do you feel about their love life?
It felt a little bit too quick. But
yeah,
it was needed for the plot. It was very important to the plot, and I loved how she. Spoiler alert! Can we get into spoilers here?
Yeah, spoilers for everything.
The ending's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if I want to spoil it. I want people to see it.
Yeah, it's true.
But I love the way they did that, and I thought it got resolved. I had to go check out Wikipedia to see but she doesn't come back to life, right?
I'm not gonna spoil it. Here's a spoiler. No, she doesn't.
She's dead, right?
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah, I mean the movie ends like 3 minutes after that when they're outside of the cave. So like there's not really a lot of time to wrap. Abe doesn't really get any closure, it doesn't seem like.
No.
I mean you can just write off their quick love because they have that connection with their hands where they could both feel each other's feelings. So I mean maybe that'll probably speed things up for most people. We don't have that luxury. But no, I still thought they were good. And then how the poem that she recites to him is the clue to get the book and the crown. But him handing over the piece of the crown for her was like, I kind of agree with Hellboy. Abe, what the hell are you doing? It just seemed like that's too severe of a step to take. But I guess it all resolves to the end. I didn't love the design of the Golden Army. That's like the one thing of all the creatures that were in that movie. That was the one I was like, that's kind of weak.
It was weird because they looked a lot better in like the animated story.
Right.
And then you see them and they're like big glass balls.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool that they can regenerate themselves because they're just like a bunch of cogs and shit, but I just wish they weren't interesting to look at all. They were just big circles.
Yeah. Coming better.
Yeah. But yeah, I would recommend this movie to everyone. If you like Del Toro especially, but 2008 was a defining year for comic book movies, and I don't think this fits in that, but it's a damn good one that just got lost in the shuffle. But I'd suggest watching it. It's on Hulu right now.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'd call it a comic book. It's more of a fantasy story, but Yeah, it's great. I highly recommend it.
Are you now more bummed that they couldn't do their third one?
Yeah, especially to see how bad this new one is. I'm not even going to see it. Are you going to see it?
I still might, but I'm not sure.
I mean, if I had your pass, maybe I'd go see it, but I'm not going to fork up $10 to see this movie that just...
Elizabeth announces that they're having her and Hellboy are having twins at the end of the movie. Would love to see the hijinks that... Like, what would that kid even look like?
I just want to see the Hellboy twins, yeah. I assume they would be... They wouldn't be identical. What would be, like, fire and what would be devil? That'd be cute.
That would be cute. What is Selma Blair? What has she been in besides that?
She looks super familiar.
Yeah, but maybe it's just from watching Hellboy 4 years ago.
She also kind of looked the Scream person. That's what I was also thinking.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not her. Legally Blonde, but I know that's not what I was getting it from.
Weird. All right, I got nothing else to add. Watch the second one for sure, and if you like that one and you want more Hellboy, watch the first one, but I don't think it's mandatory viewing. And then, I don't know, I might see the new one and give a quick review on one of the next episodes, but you could probably skip it. I wish they could have made their third and wrapped it up, because it's a pretty big, I wouldn't say cliffhanger, but big nugget of information that just kind of fades out.
Is that Cliffs of Moher?
Cliffs of Moher? No,
Moher?
It's when they come in, it's Northern Ireland.
I wasn't quite sure if it was Northern Ireland or northern part of Ireland.
I think it was the country of Northern Ireland.
It's all the same.
It's all the same.
Grass, rocks, cliffs, water.
Yep. All right. See you next time for... What's the next rewind going to be? Pokemon Snap before Detective Pikachu?
Oh, probably Avengers.
We're going to watch an Avengers movie before?
Infinity? We should watch the first one, right?
Oh, wait, we did that. We had an episode about that.
Yeah, I mean, we could do it. I'm going to watch it again. If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it, but...
I'm not sure we'll do an episode about it. Who knows what the next rewind will be, but stay tuned for that. Bye.
making waves. The glitter on her face reflected in her shades. He really loves her. I think he really loves her.